Ladies and gentlemen, welcome today to another edition of NASCAR Thunder 2004 on a custom schedule season. We are wrapping things to a close very shortly here. Only 5 races now to go on the year as we head to Phoenix International Raceway for today's 500-kilometer Checker Auto Parts 500 here at this racetrack. It is kind of a shorter racetrack, 1.25 miles in length with the very old configuration, not the one that we're used to seeing over the last half a dozen years or so within NASCAR today. So we are going around the old Phoenix Raceway. So here is the dilemma. We're quite a ways out from the championship point standings. Mathematically, we can be eliminated today if we don't have a good performance, or even if we do have a max points day and don't gain 103 points on Tony Stewart. We need to be 104 points on Tony Stewart. We need to be 603 points back or less to mathematically have a shot in the next, or I should say in the last 4 races of the season. So if we can't keep ourselves in the championship hunt, if we are mathematically out, this will be the final race of the season. I'm not going to do the full race live streams for the last 4 races, so we'll just hop right on into Season 2 starting tomorrow instead of running Atlanta, so we'll probably end up having the Bud Shootout tomorrow instead of Atlanta for this season. But if we are still in the championship hunt, we will run Atlanta as according to plan at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. We'll just have to wait and see what happens over this 312-lap race here today. Thanks for everybody tuning in here. Diamond Jeff, Bass, welcome to the stream. Joshua Rumsey, you guys were all in the chat before the race started. Welcome. Tim Irvin, welcome. Whoa, it looks like we have a wreck there in practice. Well, Bonnie and somebody in the dog leg. Well, that was interesting. But anyway, practice is concluded. Qualifying is concluded. We'll take it through today's starting lineup and key points going into today's race. Also, if we are mathematically eliminated, we will crown a champion tonight. We'll simulate the last 4 races, see how those go as well. So even when this race is done, and even if we are mathematically out when we check the points at the end of it, we are going to simulate the last 4 races if that is the case. And we're going to crown a champion here tonight for Season 1 on NASCAR Thunder 2004.
Joe Moore and Barney Hall from the beautiful Arizona desert at the 1 Mile Phoenix International Raceway for today's Checker Auto Parts 500K. Barney, this is quite a unique track. Tell us about it.
Phoenix does make for some interesting racing because no 2 turns are the same. It's a wide track and pretty fast. Some even call it the world's fastest 1-mile oval. We should get our share of some exciting action out there on the track today.
Greg Biffle has strung together back-to-back top
Oh,
5,
man.
and I'm sure he'll try for another one.
We have,
People get so
what, 4 rivals after
I'll take consistent top 5
Watkins Glen?
over a win.
Not all of them were my fault. Some of them hit me first. Some of them I turned because they were blocking me and I was getting irritated. So
Great season so far.
it's a little combination of both there.
Sometimes when drivers reach the top 5 in points, they start to push themselves too hard on race day and wind up losing spots instead. I'm sure he doesn't want that.
We're going to take you through today's starting lineup, starting with the front row as usual through this 43-car field set for today's race. Greg Biffle will be the pole sitter once again this season. It's been a few races since he's been on the pole, and for the 4th straight race, Tony Stewart will be starting on the front row, though instead of on the pole, he'll be starting second. He comes in with a massive points lead. In row number 2, it is going to be Dale Jarrett and Michael Waltrip. Behind those guys in row number 3, we've got Kenny Wallace and Ricky Rudd. Wallace has been tremendous in qualifying this year, but hasn't really done much in the race. We'll see if he can turn that around today. Ricky Rudd coming off a solid top 10 yesterday at the Glen. Robbie Gordon and Sterling Marlin will be in row number 4. Behind those guys in row number 5, it'll be Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick. Harvick, the Daytona 500 winner, slid back to 5th in the point standings after a DNF yesterday at the Glen. Elliott Sadler and Ryan Newman will be in row 6. Newman fought hard to try and get that first win of the year yesterday. Came up short on a green-white checker finish. We'll see if he can get that first win today and close the gap on Stewart in the point standings. He comes in second, 103 points out. Jimmy Johnson and Matt Kenseth will be in row 7. In row number 8, it'll be Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin. Gordon got in a crash yesterday, also DNF'd. in that race after blowing an engine and then getting ran into from behind by, at the time, the race leader and the points leader, Tony Stewart. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Ricky Craven will be in row 9. Behind those guys, in row number 10, it is going to be Joe Nemechek and Jeff Burton. And row number 11, it's going to be Johnny Benson and Ward Burton. Burton, 2 races ago, came from the rear of the field, last place starting spot, finished 5th. Can he have some of that power today with a little bit better qualifying effort? Jerry Nadeau and Hermie. Behind those guys in row number 14, it'll be 2 rookies, Casey Mears and Jack Sprague. And in row number 15, 2 more rookies added on to it, Jamie McMurray and Christian Fittipaldi. McMurray, the last rookie that is mathematically able to catch Greg Biffle. Biffle's got a good shot to clinch that Rookie of the Year also today, so we'll keep an eye on it. Rusty Wallace and Steve Park will be in row 16. In row 17, it'll be David Green and Jeff Green. Again, no relation between the two drivers with the same last name. In row number 18, Terry Labonte and Ken Schrader. Labonte continues a stretch of poor qualifying performances coming into today's race. Bobby Labonte and Bill Elliott will be in row 9. Elliott has been great in qualifying up until today. Over the last couple of races, we'll see if he can charge to the front of the field. In row number 20, it'll be Mike Skinner and Ashton Lewis. Lewis, another rookie running part-time this year. Could be one of his final starts of the season. In row 21, it'll be another part-time rookie on the inside, Chase Montgomery, and full-time veteran Kyle Petty on the outside. All by himself in row 22, rounding out the field, it'll be the 57 of Kevin LePage, and that's CLR Carr. Bass, welcome back. Here we go, here today at Phoenix, the old Phoenix Raceway. Biffle will lead the field of the green, 312 laps, 5 races to go in the season. We could crown a champion today, depending on what the situation's going to be like there. Biffle got tight into turn 1. They're door banging already. He made contact with the left rear of Stewart. Stewart chopped him right back. Biffle has the lead into the dog leg on the back and now into turn 3. And Jarrett's quickly going to jump up to second place after the contact between the top two. Stewart got the worst end of it as far as losing track position. Biffle gets 5 bonus points in the lead lap 1. Key for him to start on the pole and not allow Stewart to lead a lap here today. But again, he has to gain 104 points to mathematically still have a shot going into the final 4 races of the season. It is not going to be a championship season, you'd have to imagine, for Biffle. Really, it's between the top 3 right now, but only the top 2 are within a race of each other. Something bad could happen to Tony Stewart in these last 5 races. You never know, because that is a massive points lead. Again, 103 points ahead of Newman coming into the day, and 214 ahead of second, who is Dale Jarrett. Michael Waltrip quickly jumping up to second place as well, trying to get around Jarrett as well. Biffle has been it's been weird. Like, some corners it gets loose every now and then, locking the brakes up into the corner. And other times it gets really tight, as you saw Biffle wash up the track after it got loose on entry again right there. Just couldn't quite figure it out in practice. We already have one driver out of the race who has blown an engine. Not sure who that is. That's in the opening couple laps as Biffle tries to hold on to the lead. Waltrip is all over his back bumper. As we're quickly down to lap 5. Can't tell who that car is that is out of the race right now. We'll have to check that a little bit later. If we're almost into the inside wall. I didn't hit the inside wall in practice going into turn 1, but I came close probably every other lap, it seemed like. So it is going to be a sketchy moment getting into that corner all day today. In turn 3, again, it gets loose down there as well. It's a little easier to drive despite it being a tighter angle as far as actually trying to make the corner. It's a longer turn, I should say. You have more room on corner exit off of turn 2 compared to turn 4. Kurt Busch has charged from 9th place from the starting position, now to 2nd as he gets around Waltrip into turn 3, right behind his teammate Greg Biffle in the early going of today's race. Jarrett quickly falling back to 5th, Stewart back to 4th. One of the shorter races of the season here at Phoenix today. Again, 500 kilometers, not miles. It is only 312 laps around a mile and a quarter racetrack. It almost races like a short track. Kurt Busch all over the back of the 16. This is as close as somebody has been to trying to take the lead away outside of Waltrip that one lap when Biffle went wide into 3. Jarrett charges back to 3rd again. Biffle in the wall off of turn 4 now as he got back in the gas just a little too soon there. And Kurt Busch is trying the outside into turn 1. That's not going to work. Opens the door up now for Dale Jarrett to the inside. But Busch blocks him off, trying to get a run on Biffle again. Biffle really trying to protect the bottom, having a little bit lower angle into the corner as well to keep these cars from trying to poke in there on corner entry. Biffle wants to lead as many laps as he can today. Jarrett looking for those bonus points again. He's 3rd in points coming into the day. Can't count him out of the championship standings completely yet. Even though he's 214 points out, he's very well in the mix. Yeah, Phoenix has always been kind of a beautiful looking track. I think it was more beautiful looking aesthetically. The way this layout is. Especially with the grass on the backstretch. I feel like anytime you have more grass than pavement on the infield, it just makes it look better. That's just what I think, at least. But I obviously understand why they take it out of there, especially with how low the cars sit now in the front splitter. I mean, it just destroys the race cars. I feel like every track needs to add like turf, like Charlotte Motor Speedway did. And the only reason they did is because of the Roval, because they knew guys were going to be going through the grass pretty consistently, especially that first year. They didn't want too many torn up cars just because of missing the chicane on the front stretch, so that's why they added turf. But I feel like every track should do that if they have the budget for it. Well, I'm sure they have the budget for it. It would save a lot of torn up race cars, and we wouldn't have to worry about how low the cars sit. Same time, too, though, the testing of the next-gen cars, I've noticed, it seems like the car on the front at least sits up a little higher. At least NASCAR wants it to stay a little bit higher off the ground, but I'm sure the teams are probably going to work it closer to the ground again, kind of like you see nowadays. I mean, the car sits so low, they bottom out the corners a lot, especially at the very beginning of a run when the air pressures are lower. So it'll be kind of, again, it'll be interesting to see that going forward in 2022 and beyond with the next-gen car also. Yeah, the dogleg is a lot tighter here. Obviously, there is no pavement to go below the curbing there that you see. There actually is no curbing now. It is just nothing but pavement down there nowadays. Field getting pretty spaced apart a little bit further back in the pack. We're coming off a race where we had 10 cautions at Watkins Glen yesterday in just a 90-lap race. This is another shorter race. Maybe not as far as the laps go, but as far as the mileage itself. Here tonight, a 500-mile race at Atlanta, though, on Thunder 04 tomorrow again. If we are mathematically still in it, again, we have to be 603 points or less behind Stewart at the end of today. And Stewart's creeping around the top 5. He doesn't have any bonus points despite qualifying second, at least for the moment. Again, we'll try to monitor it as best as we can going forward throughout the course of the race. And again, the only reason that we are not going to continue the season to the end, racing the full race live streams, if I'm mathematically eliminated from the championship, is because I have to do the full races. And if we're not racing for a championship on season mode, if it was career mode, it'd be completely different, because obviously I'd want to work to the next season. There's still plenty to race for, but there really is nothing to race for on a season mode. If you're mathematically eliminated from the championship, you go in knowing the end goal is to win the championship. It's not like career mode where maybe you have underfunded equipment your rookie season, first couple seasons that you're just trying to get the best finishes you can, best points finish you can, but at the same time, if you don't win the championship, you kind of expected that going in. I should have expected, not playing this game in over 10 years until the start of this season, that I wasn't going to perform well out of the gate, and I should have known that. Obviously, come the end of the season, we're playing from behind. Really, the entire second half of the season we have been as far as the point standings go. So starting next year, we're going to come out of the gates hot. We're going to fight for that championship, and I'm going to put up a lot more of a fight. We're going to make it to the end of more races, trust me. Again, going to every track for the first time, it's just kind of weird with this game because I don't have the feeling. This is the first time we've raced at Phoenix all season too, so it felt really weird in practice, especially with that sliding going into the corners. It took me a little bit to get used to it, knowing that I don't know if I can fix it with the setups I put in the car. Again, I don't really look off of like websites or any other suggestions for setups. I'm basically just going in setup-wise, going into practice with what the game gives me in general, like the default setup, and then just trying to go off of that, okay, how's the car handling, where's the speed at, where can we pick up speed without losing too much handling, because you need the handling to get to the end of these races. We've seen a couple times this year where I haven't had a good handling car and we can't even make it out of the first run without crashing out, so we'll be able to make it further into a race a lot more often next season. Haiti, welcome to the stream. This is the original spot of the Phoenix configuration, the old configuration. Again, they have gone through a couple transformations within the last half a dozen years. First, they had the finish line right where it is in this game, and then 2003, when they repaved the racetrack and reconfigured it, it's a little shorter in length now. It's 1 mile instead of before it was 1.25 miles. They shortened the dog leg up and kept the original length of the racetrack all the way through 3 and 4. 1 and 2 is a little bit tighter. It's not as wide as what it is here, and you can use the apron coming off the exit of the corner. Again, with the dog leg, because it's paved, versus right here, it is not, and there's curbing there. So it makes it a little tighter of a racetrack, a little bit harder to pass. Not as many opportunities of it, especially on the restarts. And then the second configuration was them moving the start-finish line to where it is now and extending pit road a couple of years ago as well. When they moved the start-finish line to, it's not really it's not in the center of the dog leg. You kind of have the exit of what is now known as turn 4, old turn 2, and the start-finish line is right in, like a halfway point in between the exit of turn 2 and the start of the dog leg. So they decided that was going to create better restarts. I'm sure that's the only reason that they decided to move the start-finish line right there. And it's obviously delivered in that aspect, which is probably ideally what they were going for. Kevin LePage trying to block already. He'll be the first driver to go lap down. Boy, Biffle's got a fast car again. His fastest in practice, on top of qualifying on the pole for today's race. So that's only going to help him a little bit more going forward. We're already at lap 27. So put his first car lap down. Still has a lot more room in between the 43rd place car and, I should say 42nd place car and 41st up here. Again, somebody's out of the race. I'm not sure exactly who it is. By the way, Tim Irvin, if you're still watching right now, I saw your question earlier. It's a little harder to explain over text. So the way I play my game is a little bit different than what you would do yours if you're not streaming, obviously. Because I stream this, and I do play on my PS2 every now and then, particularly with this game, I still pretty much have the same setup. I have literally the whole console running through my HD, or not HDMI, it's a HD 60S Plus. It's an Elgato capture card. In one end of it, I've got an HDMI cable running from my TV to the output, and then the input, I have another HDMI that runs from the PlayStation 2 to the input of the capture card. And then where the USB goes in the capture card, that's where I have the like the 3-prong, mine's yellow, white, and red, because obviously PS2 doesn't adapt to... I have a smart TV, essentially, so the console's too old for my TV, so that's the only way I can actually get it to turn on is by using that thing, and then I have like an RCA adapter that basically I just plug it into there, and then plug the USB into that adapter, which goes into the capture card, so that's running simultaneously with everything else, and then the end result, to get the picture on my TV and my laptop, I have another USB running from the capture card to the actual, my PC, my laptop. And that's the same setup I have whether I'm playing offline or streaming. Cap24, welcome to the stream. But yeah, that's a little... It's fully detailed. It's still a little confusing, I'm sure, if you don't have the visual. Mike Skinner not giving Greg Biffle a lot of room here. Oh, Biffle slid right into him. Skinner came down at the same time. I think he was going to follow Biffle through there, expected him to drive it in a little deeper, but Biffle kind of slid up the racetrack just a little bit. It's so hard to pass on this older configuration, especially into turn 3 where you can't swoop all the way down to the inside of the dogleg with the grass right there. Chase Montgomery trying to block Biffle now, and Biffle bounces off the curbing right into Montgomery. Wasn't expecting that at all. Well, we know not to run over the curbing again. I haven't ran it over yet. In practice, qualifying, whatever. Man, that just shot me straight up the racetrack. Well, I mean, I had ran it over, I guess, before. I knew it did that, so that's why I was trying to avoid it before. Is my career mode I've been playing offline. I've raced here a couple times already, but that's the only practice I've had with this. So that's also a nicer thing too, that some of these tracks later in the season, especially that I'm going to for the first time here, at least I've raced like 30, 40 laps at. However many laps a 10% race would be for every racetrack on the career mode, because I've done a couple seasons there. Oh boy. 6.9 second lead back to Dale Jarrett in second place. Kurt Busch still in third, followed by Tony Stewart. Jeff Gordon, your top 5 here at Phoenix. Lap 38. Early going of today's race. Not sure exactly how long the field window is going to be this opening run. Again, we have not raced here in a full race on the channel. Well, we haven't raced here at all on the channel on this game, but obviously, again, my career mode is only 10%, so I don't know exactly how far we can go on a full run. Why didn't I start with NASCAR Thunder 2002? See, now that was the first NASCAR game I had ever played. I started with 04 because that's the more memorable game, I guess, for the aspect. I didn't play many of the... I think the only Thunder game I had was 02 and 03. I didn't actually own this, but I'm pretty sure I probably played it before as far as 04 went, so there was that aspect, and the aspect of it just being, hands down one of the better NASCAR games, if not the best NASCAR game of all time, so I kind of wanted to start with that, work my way up, because again, even though the first game I had played, I was really young when I was playing 2002, like, I didn't play it right when it came out. I'm sure I played it years after that. My dad, when he had a PlayStation 2, basically I played on his when I was playing video games. growing up, and that was the only NASCAR game we had for the longest time. Until 2005, he got it for me for Christmas, and I basically played 2005 so much from that point on. 2005 and then 2007 were the two games I had, and that I kept for the longest time. So once we get to those two games, those are probably going to be more pleasing for me to play, I guess you would say. This is so fun, this game is, but it's going to be better for me as far as playing like 05 and 07 because it's more of a sentimental favorite. Kyle Petty trying to block a lot of these lap cars, blocking at the rear of the field as of late. Biffle's tried to pass on the outside a couple times, and he just can't do it. Swings to the inside of Casey Mears in the 41. Side by side into turn 3, as it'll be Jeff Green making a pass, I believe, on Robbie Gordon, running a little bit different paint scheme here tonight. I will do 06 when we get in line. Again, I want to do these games in order. Oh, man, Biffle barely clears Jeff Green off of turn 2. I mean, he could have very well T-boned himself and turned himself right into the outside wall. Adu trying to block. Biffle beats him off of turn 2. I should say turn 4. I got so... It took me a little bit when I was playing NASCAR Heat 4 to call the corners different. If you guys remember the original streams I started doing, we started the channel on NASCAR Heat 4, and I was getting the corners mixed up because that was the first game with that configuration where they flipped the start-finish line around. It took me a couple races at that track before I actually started calling the corners correctly. Now that I've gotten that stuck in my head, I keep calling these corners the other way around, the way they are nowadays. I've probably done it a couple times without realizing it, but that's the first time I realized I've done it. Oh, man. Again, contact between Biffle and Joe Nemechek that time. We're just going to be seeing contact all day. These guys have been crowding Greg Biffle already in the early going, and Biffle doesn't have that stable of a car on corner entry in particular, as he seems slide again there into 1 and 2 as he clears Johnny Benson on corner exit. Hasn't worked his way to his 4 rivals. That tells me that they're all running up towards the front of the field. Those drivers being Dale Jr., Ryan Newman, Tony Stewart, and Kevin Harvick. And sure enough, 4 of those guys, or I should say all 4 of them, are in the top 5 in points. He needs to get payback on Johnson at some point. Now, whatever payback also we owe on whoever, really it's just Johnson at this point. We only owe payback on Jimmy Johnson. Wow, almost got into the left rear of Jeremy Mayfield. If we don't turn Johnson by the end of the season to get our payback on him eventually, especially with probably not getting all the way to the end of the season because we're going to be mathematically eliminated from the championship, likely at least. Again, we're not completely eliminated yet, so I guess when there's a will, there's a way. Stewart running top 5 right now. It's already not looking good for Biffle to gain enough points to keep the season going. 3 wide. That's the first time we've seen that today. Down to the apron into turn 3 to get around both Sterling Marlin and Elliott Sadler. Marlin just hasn't had the season I would have expected him to have. He was in the top 10 for about the first quarter of the season, then fell out, and he hasn't really ran well since. I'd have to assume if he can come out of the gates a little stronger next year, it could be a little better as Biffle hits the curbing. Through the dog leg, finally gets under Ricky Craven. Coasted in the center of the corner that time as he slid again on corner entry. Gets right around Ricky. 50 laps complete. Still caution free here today at Phoenix. Do I remember who I raced as first? I always raced as Ryan Newman. Or no, it wouldn't have been Newman. It would have been Jeremy Mayfield at the time. Yeah, never mind. I was going to say, in the later games, I liked racing as Ryan Newman or Greg Biffle. And the reason for it, obviously, Biffle, you guys know, is my favorite driver. Like in 05 and 07. But the reason why I raced as Newman, like alternatingly, we named our cat after Ryan Newman. because when we had got him, that was when Newman had that awesome 2003 season where he won 8 races, and we're like, yeah, we're just gonna name him Newman. Newman's a good name for him, so we named our cat Newman. And that was kind of like a sentimental, like, okay, you know, I raced as him. So I guess it's kind of cool in the aspect that Ryan Blaney runs a 12 car now, because it kind of, you know, turns it back to those days, you know, where it's like I was somewhat of a Ryan Newman fan at the same time too, but for whatever reason I ended up clinging on to Fords and Roush Fenway, probably because of how dominant they were in the mid to early 2000s. Pretty much all the way till like the early 2010s, they were dominant. So that probably helped with me liking a lot of their drivers, especially again, Greg Biffle would be the favorite of the bunch. Wow, big slide into the grass, into turn 3. Big save though by the Biff. I ran as Dale Sr. a lot in 02. They still had him in the game. Well, obviously, they had him in the game because I guess he would have technically started the season in the 500. 2002 would have been the 2001 season. I ran as Dale Sr. and Dale Jr. a lot. I really didn't use anybody else. Again, growing up, I mean, I didn't really use a lot of drivers. Like, I pretty much used the same. I used Biffle, and then for a little bit there, I used Ryan Newman, like I mentioned, but it was mainly Biffle that I used in a lot of the games. So I didn't really care for using anybody else that wasn't my favorite driver. And it's kind of like that now with Ryan Blaney, rather. Oh, Harvick tried to take Biffle out right in the right rear. He's going to lose a spot to Martin because of it. Full focus needs to be on right now because Ryan Newman, another rival right in front of him. Dale Jr. right there as well. I guess Newman's not mad enough to take a swing at Greg Biffle. Biffle get to his outside. Not sure how this is going to work off into turn 3. Actually stuck the corner a little better running the outside. Newman looking to the inside of Dale Jr. Biffle still outside of Newman, and he'll clear him at the start-finish line. Barely keeps it off the wall. Newman got tight. Corner entry, maybe overran the corner a little bit. Biffle got sideways. Maybe he was going high to avoid him. So Biffle trying to get around Jr. without Jr. taking him out here. We might end up seeing some retaliation from Biffle if Jr. really tries to take a swing, but Biffle wants to run the screen for the moment. He's going to get underneath him at the line. Wow, I'm surprised Jr. never took a swing. Biffle drives it hard into 1 and 2 to clear him. They were 3 wide underneath Mike Skinner at the moment too, but I'm surprised Jr. didn't take a shot there. Biffle's okay with it. Nice clean pass. So he gets underneath Michael Waltrip now. The AI lets you check up quite a bit going into turn 3 also, so that's a good passing zone on this racetrack for that reason. Billy Kramer, welcome to the stream. Trying to see if anybody new entered the chat while I was on my long tangent there for a second. Sorry, I wasn't really looking at it. Oh man, almost ended up on the wall looking at the chat a little too long. Not as long as straightaways around this racetrack, so it's a little harder for me to look at the chat. Especially, again, this game. No, I don't think we have. Oh, wow. There's a moment again. Another wiggle into turn 3. The car just takes off of the track. And that's why we've seen contact when Biffle gets underneath another car. For that reason, it just slips getting in. He overcorrects it, washes up the track. When there's nobody to his outside, he's able to keep it off the wall because there's a lot of room with the track being wider, even though it's flatter. I don't know why I braked going through the dog leg right there. Got out of rhythm there for a second. I just kind of realized it right in the center. I'm like, why did I even brake right there? You can run the dog leg full throttle. Pretty much always have around this racetrack. Do I watch older NASCAR? Oh yeah, for sure. When I was working at my old place, we could listen to whatever we kind of wanted there, and I would listen to old races all the time. Like I would listen to music for the early going of the day to just get me awake, especially going in as early as it was because I was getting tired, especially later in the week. Going in the morning for those first couple hours. So I'd use that to wake me up, and then after lunch I would put a full race on and listen to it. Well, first I started listening to races I had gone, and then trying to like visualize stuff as it happens. And then I was like listening to older classic races that started with like early 2000s, late 90s, mid 90s races. And the reason why I started with those is because I would have been too young or not old enough to remember watching the races. Biffle's got to be careful getting around Stewart. And he's going to outbreak him right there and get right around him. Tony Stewart has gone a lap down here in the early going. Checker Auto Parts 500. 3 cars on the lead lap. Biffle is putting on a show in the early going of today's race as he tries to lap the field, hustling around Dale Jarrett now. He'll clear him cleanly. 3 wide for a short moment underneath Brett Bodine, a slower lap car who was already a lap down. He's on the outside. And he's going to work his way to the inside of his teammate Kurt Busch. So Harvick's the only one that took a swing at him despite having 4 rivals coming up through the field, especially in the last dozen laps or so. Biffle's going to get it right around. We stay caution-free here at this racetrack. Pit road is really tricky to get onto in this game as well. I know it's similar to how it is nowadays, but with the grass there, it's kind of a tighter angle. And for whatever reason, when I was trying to brake in practice to get to pit road, the car felt like it wanted to spin out every time. So we're going to try not to do that. I almost nosed it into the inside wall trying to get it to pit road. I tried it twice. Both times I just slid the tires trying to get it to slow down. Even if I coasted it, the second time I coasted it through the center of the corner, it was a little easier, but it was still pretty skatey. Another moment there right behind Steve Park. Park is blocking Biffle. Underneath him into turn 3. Got a little tight. Center of the corner. A little contact. Park trying to get around his teammate Robbie Gordon. Not sure if that's for position or not. I'd have to imagine it is as they both go 2 laps down now. There's another hit to the wall. That was me looking away from the screen because I was in the center of the straightaway. A couple fundamental errors here in the early going of today's race. Biffle's trying to go for his 3rd consecutive win. That would give him 15 on the season. Even with 14 wins coming into the day and back-to-back now, he's still 8th in points. That's just been the consistency, or inconsistency rather, this season. We'll see. We got 9 likes already. Thanks for everybody liking the video, liking the stream. Still got a ways to go here today, assuming we make it to the end of the race. How skatey this car is on the center of the corner, it really does scare me. But luckily this isn't a long race. Jarrett is able to get back to 2nd that last lap on Kurt Busch. Stewart's still in 4th, and Jeff Gordon's still rounding out the top 5. Again, Stewart's going to really need to fall back here. Biffle almost got into mirrors. He bounced off the curve, shot up the track, and barely kept it off of him. Mad speed down the straightaways for Biffle today. Oh, there's a little more contact. With both McMurray and Nemechek. McMurray is pretty much out of the Rookie of the Year running. Biffle has almost clinched it. There's a good chance he'll clinch the Rookie of the Year today. He has to finish 22 positions or less. Or I should say 22 positions or less behind McMurray. He'll be all right. And he'll clinch the regular season title. McMurray's already a couple laps down early. and running mid-pack at best here today. Ooh. It's an uneasy feeling making contact center of these corners, especially with how glued together the cars can get on this game when there's contact right around the right rear, especially. It's like that for both the AI and the our actual, I should say, yourself if you're racing. That's unbelievable. I don't think we have seen an opening run where everybody has been lapped in the race today. Biffle's actually led every lap. Again, started on the pole. It was a fight for about the first 20 to 25 laps, and then after that, he's just started to pull away. And the good thing is, too, for Biffle is the fact that, again, he's led every lap. Nobody else has had a chance. He's got a one-lap lead. So if we go to green flag pit stops, he might still hold on to the lead. That's something we have never come close to doing. We've led a lot of laps in races before in this game, on this season when we've won. But at the same time, we have not really come close to leading every lap in a race. That'd be awesome if we could do that here, especially on an oval. Granted, I guess the road courses are, speed-wise, they're a little better on this game if you got the right setup, and that's the first time Biffle's hit the inside wall going into one. Surprised it took him that long. He's been really loose on entry on both ends of the track all day. And right there is a little too much to handle. I'd have to imagine that's going to be so easy for the car to spin right around, and that's a dangerous area too. Right on corner entry in the preferred lane. It's pretty much a one-groove track around the bottom. I have to imagine green flag pit stops are not that far away. Biffle's low on fuel right now, so gonna try to take it as long as we can to monitor exactly how far we can go on a full tank of fuel. It'll be lap 80 this time by. They might be able to make it to lap 100. It's looking like a 2 or 3 stop race today, but if they can't get to 100, it's likely going to be a 3 pit stop race, with the last stop being really close to the finish. Some of these guys, we might have some guys further back in the pack that can maybe stretch it. Wow, Biffle just came in a little too hot there through the dog leg and got right in the back of his teammate Burton. Again, he's got a 1-lap lead on the field, not 2. Averages out a 1-lap lead, so about a lap and a half over second place. Biffle down to the apron there to get around Kenny Wallace. Ooh. Another moment. These tires are getting older, obviously. Over 80 laps worth on them. On right in the center there. Nobody's tried to short pit yet either. I don't think we're quite into that window where they want to short pit again. They might try to stretch it long enough to make it on 2 stops if we have a green flag race to the end. We have had 2 races go caution-free this season. The Daytona 500 and our second Michigan race both went caution-free. We've come close in a couple others. I think we've had probably 3 or 4 races where we've only had 1 or 2 cautions as well. For random occurrence and incidents around the racetrack. Closing right back in on his rivals again. One of them, his teammates, Mark Martin. Not going to really want to get around him on the outside here. He wants to pass him on the inside. Try to blow by him. Oh, Martin thought about taking the swing. Harvick takes the swing, puts him in the grass. Oh, and around he goes. Big hit by Kenseth. Harvick just turned Greg Biffle. And Biffle's teammate Kenseth gets involved as well with a big hit to the driver's side door. Right around that left rear tire. Harvick just dumped him down the straightaway and right at the start-finish line, too. So Biffle's just going to pit now under caution. It looks like everybody else is going to stay out and take the wave around. Biffle will still have the lead, but they're going to get... Some of these guys are going to get back on the lead lap with that. Some of them are going to go 2 laps down. There shouldn't be a debris caution, though, with Biffle pitting unless it comes off of Kenseth. So 4 tires and a full tank of fuel coming. Harvick just dumped Biffle, and that's the first caution of the day here, just over 80 laps in. Tried to take him out earlier, too, in the center of the corner. He actually hit him in the center of 3 and 4, but because Biffle went in the grass, they were still side by side down the front straightaway, and that's when Harvick just flat out cleaned him out that time. That's not what Biffle needs running in the lead. Now, that's going to trap a lot of guys 1 lap down, but again, there were some guys in there that were only 1 lap down, so they'll get back on the lead lap. Biffle started behind him. Green flag back in the air. He's also on fresher tires. Already had a faster car to begin with, so we got 10 cars on the lead lap. Biffle's going to have to go right back through his rivals again. There's a good chance he might get back at Kevin Harvick here. Racing to the... Oh, Martin puts Biffle in the wall. And the dogleg, big hit from Nemechek. Casey Mears is up and over. Huge crash, and that is going to be the end of the season. For Biffle, at least. Unbelievable. So he gets cleaned out by Harvick. Came to pit road to repair the damage. Comes back out behind the rivals again. Got to the outside 3 wide. And the dog leg there on Martin, his teammate nonetheless. And his teammate just cleaned him out. Big hit by Nemechek that blew the fuel cell on Biffle's car. Casey Mears goes up and over. That is unbelievable.
Unfortunately, we're out of time for now. Thanks for joining us. So long. We'll see you next week at the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Well, that is going to eliminate Biffle from playoff contention. Well, another DNF that, again, wasn't his fault. Wrong place at the wrong time, I guess. Unbelievable. After just dominating the opening 80 laps. Well, on the bright side, at least we have no rivals when we start next season. Oh, jeez. That is unbelievable. A teammate, nonetheless. Sterling Marlin is going to go on to win here today at Phoenix. We'll take a look at the finishing results. Marlin with the win, Kevin Harvick second, followed by Jeff Burton third, Terry Labonte fourth, and Johnny Benson rounds out the top 5. So for Marlin, that's his first win of the year, by the way. Ricky Craven sixth, Mark Martin seventh. 8th is Kurt Busch, 9th is Ryan Newman, and Matt Kenseth rounds out the top 10. A lot of different drivers led. 20 lead changes and just the 2 cautions. Points later, Tony Stewart finishes 11th in today's race. So Biffle is now eliminated from contending for the championship. And I believe because a couple drivers so we had a couple drivers involved in that accident as well that were already a couple laps down. Ashton Lewis, his day ended in that accident. And Ken Schrader, his day also ended in the accident. Jimmy Johnson was the driver that blew an engine on lap 2. I guess he came back out and finished ahead of us. So that's what finished Greg Biffle off in 41st. I mean, at least he got the season over before. We were probably not going to win the championship at that point anyway. But that's not, I mean, we still wanted to go out with a win, even if we were eliminated from contention tonight, right? Still wanted to finish our season strong. Unbelievable. So Biffle with the 41st place finish there. 4 drivers, well, basically 3 DNF. Johnson came back in. And he needed to finish 22 positions or less behind McMurray, and I think he did it easily there. McMurray finished 22nd. Okay, maybe not easily. 18 positions behind him. So Biffle should have locked up the Rookie of the Year today as well, even with that DNF. So we got 4 races to go on the season. We'll take a look at the point standings here. Stewart didn't have a good day, but Newman didn't beat him. I think he lost by 1 spot to Stewart, so Stewart's still going to gain a little bit in the point standings. I don't think he led a lap either. So we're about to crown a champion here in a few moments, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go away. We're going to simulate the last 4 races, assuming we're mathematically out. We are. I mean, we had to gain 104 on Stewart, and he obviously beat us by a lot with us DNFing him just completing the race alone. Man, you hate to see it. I guess Newman gained a little ground. Newman must have led laps in there, despite finishing 1 position behind him, because he gains 8 points on Stewart, so Newman might have led the most laps. That might have been the difference there. 95-point lead for Stewart over Newman. Jarrett, 227 back, so he loses a little bit more. Harvick with the second-place run goes from 5th to 4th in the standings there, and Junior falls from 4th to 5th in the standings. Close battle there for 4th. Yeah, we're going to crown a champion here. Kenseth 6th, Ricky Rudd 7th, Mark Martin moves up to 8th, Jeff Burton 9th, Sterling Marlin 10th. Greg Biffle falls from 8th to 11th in the standings after Martin cleaned him out, and Martin, sure enough, was one of the guys that passed him in points. So, obviously, yes, we are mathematically out from the championship. We will do another race. We might just do the Bud Shootout. It's a short race. You guys get to pick the driver that will be running for next season. We can do that. Because we were scheduled to do another Thunder 04 stream tomorrow. So we can probably run. I think what we're going to do is we're going to race the Bud Shootout, and then we could actually start, because I don't work Mondays or Tuesdays, so I don't have to work tomorrow, so I don't care if we do another race today. We can do the Gatorade Duel and the 500 tomorrow then. Probably start the Gatorade Duel like in the evening, probably like 5 o'clock. Then we'll run the 500 like at 7, or not long after, maybe closer to 6:30, whenever that race gets done. But we can do a doubleheader tomorrow then with that, because once I start the duel, I have to run the 500, after it, so I can't just leave my PS2 on, because it's not like PS4 where you can put it in rest mode. So I think that's what we're going to end up doing then. But first and foremost, we need to crown a champion for Season 1 on NASCAR Thunder 04. Now, simulating the races, I don't know if we're going to actually get finishes out of it or if it's just going to have us in last place. I guess we'll have to wait and see. So, the Georgia 500 at Atlanta. Jeff Gordon will go on to win his 3rd race of the season. Dale Jr. 2nd, followed by Ryan Newman. Tony Stewart 4th. Kurt Busch rounds out the top 5, followed by Bobby Labonte, Kevin Harvick, Dale Jarrett, Mark Martin, and Matt Kenseth. Top 10. See if anybody DNF'd. Yeah, so it just runs us in last, is what it looks like, even though everybody finished on the lead lap. 1 caution for 3 laps. So that's a bummer. We still had 400 miler at Daytona left this year, too. And Martinsville. Not that I probably would have made it to the end of the Martinsville race, but. So Stewart's lead down to 85 points. Still a 2-horse race right there. So you take a look at the top 5, followed by Dale Jarrett. Dale Jr. back to 4th. Harvick falls from 4th to 5th. So that's the only change in the top 5 there. Now let's simulate the Pepsi, well, I guess the 2nd Daytona night race. Dale Jarrett will go on to win. That's big. He's 3rd in points. Ryan Newman 2nd. Good for him. Matt Kenseth 3rd. Bobby Labonte 4th. Ricky Rudd rounds out the top 5, followed by Dale Jr. 6th. Jeff Gordon 7th. Jeff Burton 8th. Ward Burton 9th. And Kurt Busch rounds out the top 10. Where did Tony Stewart finish? That's a wild card race, ladies and gentlemen, and it proved to be. I guess we finished 39th. This is going to drop us so far in the points doing this, because we were 11th. Tony Stewart, 41st, out of the race there. They had 2 cautions. Wow, that might have lost Stewart the points lead. With 2 races to go, Tony Stewart's big points lead just evaporated with 2 races to go. I think Ryan Newman's going to be the points leader. Yeah, he'd have to be. He gained over 100 points on him. He was 85 back. Look at this. Now we got a 3-driver battle. Ryan Newman is taking over the points lead. Tony Stewart second. Dale Jarrett third. Junior and Harvick still 4th and 5th. Dale Jarrett's still within a race, so he has a shot at it. I guess another wild card race at Martinsville. Kurt Busch goes on to win. Kevin Harvick second, followed by Dale Jarrett, Dale Jr., Matt Kenseth the top 5. Tony Stewart 6th. Good bounce back performance there. Bobby Labonte 7th. Jeff Gordon 8th. Terry Labonte 9th. Ryan Newman rounds out the top 10. Led 1 lap. Stewart did not lead any. So 5 bonus points versus none. Newman went in with a 50-point lead. Dale Jarrett went in 151 back of Newman. He finished 3rd. So it's going to be a 3-horse race into the final race of the year at Darlington for the Southern 500. So Ryan Newman still has the points lead. Stewart closes the gap by 11. He is 39 points back. Dale Jarrett 119 back in 3rd. Junior still 4th. Harvick still 5th. So final race of the season. 500 miles at Darlington for the Southern 500. Ryan Newman will have the points lead, with Tony basically taking the points lead with 2 races to go, going into the Martinsville race there. Tony Stewart closes the gap a little bit. He's in 2nd. And Dale Jarrett still has a chance because you can gain at least 100. If you're within 151 into the last race, you have a chance. So it's a long shot for Dale Jarrett, but he has a chance. 3 drivers have a shot to win the championship. Final race of the year at Darlington. Jeff Gordon goes on to win his 4th race of the year, winning the Southern 500. And Ryan Newman, finishing 3rd, Ryan Newman is the Season 1 NASCAR Thunder 2004 champion, leading 48 laps in triumph to victory. Wasn't the most. He got bonus points. Stewart did not get any bonus points, and he beat Stewart going in with the points lead. So Ryan Newman is the champ. Gordon with the win. Bobby Labonte 2nd. Ryan Newman 3rd. Tony Stewart finished 4th. Kevin Harvick rounds out the top 5, followed by Kurt Busch, Dale Jr., Matt Kenseth, Sterling Marlin, and Mark Martin rounds out the top 5. Dale Jarrett went in with a shot to win the championship, and he finished 24th. He did not have a good day, did not lead any laps. He might have actually lost 3rd in points despite going in with a shot. His junior was only like 40 behind him. He finished 7th. So we'll take a look at the season net standings. We did not finish well again with the simulation. So we didn't finish better than 39th those last 4 races with the simulation. I guess we finished 41st because we DNF'd at Phoenix too. So we're going to finish a lot worse than the standings. We were 11th in points going in to the Final Four, and we did not run well. Oh, that's cool. You can run like 2 seasons on the... that's pretty cool. We're not going to do that, but I did not know that with this game. All right. So final look at the point standings. Newman, the champion, by 49 over Tony Stewart. Dale Jr. moved up to 3rd in the last race. Dale Jarrett falls back to 4th despite the fact Jarrett had a shot to mathematically win the championship into the final race. He finishes 4th. Kevin Harvick, top 5 points finish. Young Kevin Harvick, too. That's only his 3rd season in the Cup Series. 5th in points. Pretty solid. Matt Kenseth, 6th in points. Ricky Rudd, 7th. Bobby Labonte, 8th. Jeff Gordon, 9th. And Jimmy Johnson rounds out the top 10 in the inaugural 2004 season on NASCAR Thunder 04 on the channel. Again, we will have 1 more season to try and win the championship. We'll have to wait and see if we can actually do it. Mark Martin finishes 11th. Sterling Marlin 12th. 13th Burton. Then Waltrip, Kurt Busch, Jeff Green, Johnny Benson. And we finished 18th in points. Now, we were 11th. We went in 8th tonight, and we came out 11th after Phoenix, but simulating the last 4 races hurt us, obviously, too. Greg Biffle does win the Rookie of the Year, though, by a wide margin. Next closest rookie was Jamie McMurray, Casey Mears, 31st. So Mears actually snuck away with 2nd in the Rookie of the Year standings last couple races of the year. So we won the Rookie of the Year with Biffle. We'll take a look at a couple statistics here. First and foremost, how many different winners did we have? I know we had 13 going into the night. Kurt Busch won his first race of the year. And Sterling Marlin won his first today as well. So 15 different winners on the season. In our inaugural season. 15 different winners, and Ryan Newman is the champion. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Didn't win a single race. Ryan Newman did not win a single race, and he is your champion due to consistency throughout the course of the year. That's awesome. 6 poles for the Rocket Man, 12 top 5s and 25 top 10s, a 10.2 average finish, 8.8 average start. Wow, that's pretty cool. Finished 6th as full-time rookie season in 2002. So yeah, career high in top 10s, top 5s not so much, but average finish was better by over 4 positions. So Ryan Newman, our inaugural champion. Let's hear it in the chat. Ryan Newman has won our inaugural championship for NASCAR Thunder 2004. Again, we will do Season 2. It'll be the normal schedule, and you guys get to pick the driver. Looking at the wrong camera. You guys get to pick the driver. Bud Shootout will be coming in 15 to 20 minutes due to us DNFing here today, so we'll just go ahead and do that now instead of tomorrow. Again, 15 to 20 minutes, so tune in for that one. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We do these full race live streams with a realistic broadcast on the daily in hopes of me hopefully one day living my dream of broadcasting real races within the NASCAR realm. It's kind of a first foot in the door. So if you like NASCAR, this is the place to be. We have other content on the daily as well. But this is the forefront of that. Hit the like button down below if you enjoyed the short race, the commentary, the video in general after we DNF'd about 90 laps in. And that is going to wrap things up. We will not use Greg Biffle next season, so if he for some reason wins the fan vote, we will not use him because we used him Season 1 because he was my favorite driver and it was his rookie season, so I wanted to use him once. But we will do one final season of NASCAR Thunder 04, and we will, mark my words, bring home the championship. I feel more comfortable going into Season 2. I'll have less assists. I will do that to make it a little bit more difficult in that aspect, but I think we'll still be all right because I used no assists on the career mode. So using none in Season 2, we had limited on for this first season because when I first hopped into the season, I had no experience with this game in 10 years when we ran the 500, so I knew we were going to start out of the gates rusty, but we should come out pretty okay. We'll start the fan vote in the next stream, not right now. So when that stream comes up, I'll roll through the list of drivers that we can pick and the paint schemes and all that stuff. So hopefully you guys enjoyed Season 1. It was a fun journey, but I think Season 2 is going to be a whole heck of a lot better. More experience for myself with this game. Plus, it's the final hurrah on NASCAR Thunder 04. Starts with the 500 tomorrow, but it actually starts with the Bud Shootout tonight. So again, see you guys in 15 to 20 minutes. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you soon.